If you've ever felt overlooked and that life is too difficult to overcome the obstacles thrown at you, then you need to listen to what our next guest has to say. Alice Washington is the founder and executive director of the Stepping Stone Pathways and the author of If You Would Just See Me. And she joins us to change your challenge into triumphs. Alice, welcome to Real Life.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blessing, and I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes, and I'm excited for you to tell your story. Let's start. I mean, you literally are telling your life story in this book, starting in the 70s. Hey, first of all, I want you to tell me, if you would just see me. Where does that come from?
Well, it comes from a little girl where I didn't want to go to school. And my grandfather would take care of me while my parents were working. And I thought that was just the best. I didn't think I needed school because I had him.
Yeah.
And my first day of, I believe it was kindergarten, I fell down the steps and told my dad I was blind. And he believed me. And he was about to take me to the emergency room. And my mom comes in from work and she's like, "Wait before you take her, let me see her." So she takes me in the kitchen and she wipes my face and dries my eyes. And she says, "Do you see me? Because I see you." And I said, "Yes, Mommy, I see you." And from that moment, it was an interesting day, because then after getting a whooping at that time, I never tried that stunt again, but she was the first to see me for me and allowed me to be seen.
Don't you think that that's the cry of even the human heart? All ages, all generations. Can you just see me? Can you just see me and love me for who I am?
Absolutely. And for my story, I was an uh-oh baby, which means I was the youngest out of 4, and the next in age to me, she was 7. So I was too little to play with her and to be around her too much. But there were times when my mom would make her take me with her when she would go to her friend's house. And she would just leave me to the side. And her friends would have a good time. And I kept saying, "But I'm sitting right here, I want to play too." But she wasn't interested. And then I had another sister who was 10 years older than myself. Thank God for her. She would let me come with her because she would see me by myself all the time. And she would take me to her different events at school and with her friends. And I have a brother who is 13 years older than me. And by the time I got of age, he was married and out the door right after high school. So it was interesting. I was always looking for attention, but wasn't able to get it, and everybody was just busy. So it was very challenging at times. And growing up, it made me stronger because I learned I could depend on me, and I didn't need other people's opinions to make decisions. And I learned how to turn that lemon into a lemonade, so to speak, throughout life. And it has just been a blessing where it shows up now in life to allow me to teach that, not to let things hinder you, but find the good and work through that and make it a blessing for yourself and for others.
So you're this little girl saying, "Can you see me? Can you play with me? Can I be a part?" Let's fast forward now to your teen years, and now there's boys noticing you, and you're a beautiful young girl, and there's some troubles with the father. What happens?
Well, my lack of relationship with my dad after exposing some things as a child that I didn't even know I was exposing, I think put a shift in our relationship. And from that, it kind of stayed at that place. So I started to seek attention elsewhere. And it allowed me to make poor choices, which I didn't know. I didn't know how to date. I didn't know what that was supposed to be like and I didn't understand how to respect myself enough to not allow anyone to mistreat me and say whatever they wanted to say to me. So that was a lesson learned on my half. But then I got to a point in life where I found myself pregnant, and I was on the phone with a friend. We're trying to speak in code, so to speak, because my mom was in the next room.
Right.
And I had planned for an abortion. And the baby's dad was coming to give me the money so that we could move forward with this situation. And after I hang up the phone, my mom comes up and says, well, when were you going to tell me that you were pregnant? And it's like time stood still. Wow. And she told me, I will not tell you what to do, because this is a decision that's going to affect you for the rest of your life. Whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, you're going to have to walk in whatever it is that you're going to deal with, whatever that looks like. And then she called my sister, because I was determined this is what I was going to do. My sister comes through the door. She only lived 2 minutes away. And she's screaming and quoting scriptures and crying. And I'm overwhelmed because she's so overwhelming. And she made an offer to me that I'll never forget. She said, I know you're young, but I'll take and raise your child for you until you get on your feet and you're able to raise your child yourself. And I think that set with me so much that the next day I couldn't go through with it. And I've learned a lot of different trials and tribulations of being a single parent and being criticized and people not wanting me to be around their children because they thought I was a bad influence, and even family members looking at me like, wow, I can't believe you did that and this is where you're at in life. And a lot of people dealt with me accordingly. You know, if they would always look to see if you had a ring or if the dad was in the picture, and they would choose to deal with you how they thought they should because you were not married and I was so young. So it was very challenging at that time.
There were several now years of challenges, struggles. You're a single parent. You're getting a career, you're getting your footing, you're getting housing, you're living by yourself. And what was the next major thing that happened that changed your life?
I was a college student, and I had to end up giving up my child because I could no longer take care of my child. And I thank God that the father was there to step up and take our child, and I found myself homeless. And life taught me a lot of lessons, and at school, a friend of mine I shared with allowed me to come and stay at her dorm. And I was like, well, am I going to get put out? She said, no, no one will know. You can stay in my room. I have the extra bed. So I did that for quite a while, and then I found the Dorothy Day Apartments. Another girlfriend told me about it, and that saved my life, where because I was a single parent in school, I could stay there, and that was the condition. So I got my child back, got a place to live, finished school, became an educator at the school, and I stayed in education for several years. So because of the resources that I was provided from the Dorothy Day Apartments, it allowed me to have a mentor. They gave me accountability, responsibility, on-site child care, bus stop right in front of the door, help you with a bus pass. You just had to keep up your attendance and your grades.
Wow. Which is exactly what you're passionate about today, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But in your book, you said, you know, now today you're married and life is good, an empty nester.
Yes.
And God's goodness and kindness to you and throughout your journey. But you said this, that you found a counselor, you found a health coach, you found a life coach, you find a financial advisor, a prayer partner, and a spiritual mentor. And I think that's just huge. When you're in challenges and struggles, you need a way out. Find people to help build your team.
Absolutely. Everyone needs a support team.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jesus, I am married and my husband is amazing and I thank God for him. But I cannot dump everything on him. I have to take accountability and responsibility for some of my choices and navigating through life. And I have to be good to myself. And I have to learn that I don't have to do everything by myself. I can unpack, I can have someone help me sort, make decisions. I've been through a lot, from bankruptcy, divorce, foreclosure, repo.
Wow.
It's in there. It's like Prego.
Yeah.
It's in there. So in the book, I like to share nuggets of wisdom because someone can tell you they've been through something, but until they tell you how, sometimes makes all the difference. And you don't have to do it the way I did it. It's just something to think about, and maybe it can help you.
Yes, to be seen and to be understood. We see you and we understand. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony and your story. And we're going to hear more from you a little bit later and dig into what you're doing now currently and how your life is going to help and affect so many for the good.